Howdy folks, Greyhawk 4x4 coming at you again, your resident vintage gamer. Today, Wizards of the Coast announced that their next adventure for 5th edition D&D will be set in the Ravenloft campaign setting. It's going to be called Curse of Strahd. So, the Ravenloft campaign setting has a very rich history within the Dungeons & Dragons franchise. And I thought that because I own quite a bit of material from the older editions of Ravenloft, I thought you guys might like to see them. So, and I know I like to showcase stuff, so it's kind of a win-win. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, to start off with, we'll start at the very beginning. We'll start with First Edition D&D, First Edition Advanced D&D. Some people would have an issue with that if I don't call it Advanced D&D. But in any case, First Edition AD&D, and this was written by Tracy and Laura Hickman, who happen to live here not too far from me, and I see them all the time at all the different conventions and everything. And so I was lucky enough to get this one autographed by them. There you go. So this one was released. This started so the beginning of Ravenloft basically was 1983, because that's when this came out. And unless I'm mistaken, this was released as a Halloween module. I'm trying to remember all the way back to 1983, but I'm pretty sure that it was released by TSR close to Halloween that year, and it was meant to hopefully be a big seller because everybody would say, hey, we could all play D&D on Halloween night, and we've actually got a Halloween module. And of course, it's Strahd the vampire, and so it's all horror related, and it turned out it did very well because it's a fantastic adventure. I have been a player through this. I have not DM'd that yet. The sequel to that was I-10, and when I say that, that's these numbers up here. So, because back in the day, TSR had product identifiers that they used. So this one was I-6, and then this one was I-10. And if I remember correctly, I believe the I for these stood for intermediate because of the adventure levels. Like this one was levels 5 to 7, so it's not really a beginning player module. It's more of an intermediate. So this was the sequel to that, Ravenloft 2, The House on Griffin Hill, I-10. And the artwork, in case you're wondering, is of course the legendary Clyde Caldwell. All of these, both of these are Clyde Caldwell. So that's how Ravenloft started. It started with these Halloween modules here. And then they decided, because it did so well, they said, well, what if we made it its own campaign setting? They did that. Called Realm of Terror. And they put it into a box set for 2nd edition. And there's a lot of material in this. There's like, there's one book alone that's 144 pages in there. There's a whole bunch of maps. Good amount of material for your money in that box set. Let's just set those down there. And then they added later on, they added on, and it was a expansion. That's the word I'm trying to think of. It was a major expansion for that box set, Realm of Terror. So this went into a whole bunch of other things, and it has like 5 other little booklets inside as part of it. And it also came with the Taroka deck. Now, let's see if I can get that any closer and get it to, see if I can get that to, I was told if you put your hand up next to it, yeah, that it will help it too. There we go. Yeah, so when you put your hand up, it does help it. Kind of, maybe, sort of. Anyway, that is the Taroka deck, which is, and that's what it looks like on the other side. Of course, this one's still in plastic. I never have opened it. This is for the fortune teller that exists within the campaign. It's a key part to the Ravenloft campaign itself, is the Taroka deck. And so with the new edition, new 5th edition adventure that's coming out, Gale Force 9, who does a lot of products for Wizards of the Coast, is actually doing a new Taroka deck that you'll be able to buy. So, let's put that one down here. Then another edition that they came out with was basically this is just an adventure, Castles Forlorn, and I think there was even a couple more like this for 2nd edition, and then they came out with a new box set. This was again for 2nd edition. And this one was just basically called Ravenloft, the campaign setting. And this one has it has a 160-page book. It has a separate 128-page book. It has 2 maps, and it has a poster, and it came with another Taroka deck. So if you didn't get one that first box, that expansion, you could get one here. So there was that came out. And then they eventually came out with a hardback book, hardback tome, called Domains of Dread for the Ravenloft world. Just more source material if you wanted to really flesh out your campaign, your horror campaign, because that's all this. It's basically a realm of horror, and it comes with all of its own. There were several different sets of monsters compendiums, and I do have those too. I didn't feel like digging them out to cover all of the different beasts and NPCs and all that type of stuff. And then later on, they came out with what they call their Von Richter's guides, and so you had Von Richter's Guide to the Ancient Dead, and it went through all of them. Here's Von Richter's Guide to Vampires. There's like, looks like there's like 8 of them here. I mean, there's ghosts. Of course, you can't see that way. There's ghosts. Von Richter's Guide to Ghost. So even if you were doing, let's say, a campaign, a homebrew campaign, and you wanted to inject some horror elements into it, you could just pick these up. I mean, because this tells you everything. Here's Werebeasts. Here's the guide to Werebeasts. Fiends. There's even Von Richter's Guide to the Created. So basically, like Frankenstein's monster, golems, that kind of stuff. There you go. The Lich. Von Richter's Guide to the Lich. I mean, fantastic source material. For basically any role-playing game that you were going to have those type of elements, and they even did I dug this one out because I kind of remembered it. I remember it had the same artwork on the front. I don't know if you guys remember the old adventure game books for AD&D adventure game. This was at number 6, Master of Ravenloft, and with these, and it was one of those like pick a path to adventure things where you get to this page, and then if you choose to do this, you turn to that page, and if you choose to do the other thing, you go to the other one. And so it's all based upon your choices. And what was kind of neat was this one even came with its own little, I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not. Probably not. Let's see here. Yeah, it came with its own little pre-generated character in there for the pick a path to adventure. So, yeah, character stats card, they call it. So, in any case, that is some of the... I have more Ravenloft stuff tucked away in other places and stuff, but this was the main stuff that I could get to, that I thought you guys might get a kick out of seeing. If any of you are big Ravenloft fans, if that was one of the campaigns that you really played a lot of back in the day, put a comment below. Let us know what you think. What you think about the re-release for 5th edition, this new Curse of Strahd, and all that. I'd love to hear your guys' feedback. So that's it for this one. We'll catch you on the flip side.